Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Asher Marketing Podcast. This podcast is brought to you by Asher Agency, a full-service marketing agency with offices in Indiana, West Virginia, and Washington, D.C. For nearly 50 years, Asher has helped our clients tell their stories, reach customers and prospects, and stand out from the crowd. To learn more about how we can help your company, visit asheragency.com or contact us at hello@asheragency.com. My guest is Ewelina Connolly. Ewelina, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you, Anthony?
I'm great. Thanks so much for doing this. You came very highly recommended from one of your board members, Kara Kelly. So tell us a little bit about your board and the role Kara plays.
Yes, she's been just a superstar on our board. She, aside from serving on the executive committee, she also serves on our fund development committee. And she truly puts the fun into fund development.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Kara and I work across the hall from each other. So I sometimes get to experience that firsthand. So yeah. I can imagine she's pretty great at that. Well, thanks for doing this again. I want to start at the beginning, and you've got a really interesting story. Many of our guests are, from all over the country. Many are from Northeast Indiana, but you may win the award for the podcast guest who's from the place that's furthest away, that being Plock, Poland.
Yes.
So we were talking before we hit record. That's a sister city to Fort Wayne.
Yes, it is.
But I want to go back to when you were younger and maybe didn't even know where Fort Wayne was. Mm-hmm. What were you thinking about in terms of careers? Did you think someday you wanted to leave your home country and live somewhere else? What was on your mind at that time?
Oh, so we're really going way back.
Yeah, we're going all the way back.
If we're going all the way back and dig into history, I was born and pretty much raised in a communist country. Mm-hmm. We lived completely unaware of the rest of the world. Okay. So it's really hard to dream about things that you have not seen or experienced, right? There was little to desire.
Sure.
We were all poor. We didn't know it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't necessarily think much about long-term and way into the future. But when I had the opportunity to think about what my career might be after we became a democratic society after the Berlin Wall fell and all that happened, and the Solidarity movement, which you might be familiar with. I have come to realize that I really wanted something more for myself than to follow in the footsteps of my mom and my grandma, both extremely incredible, courageous women. I wanted something different. Yeah. Again, at that point in time, girls were raised to be good homemakers, and we were destined to take care of families and raise children, which is absolutely an important job. And we didn't have really any opportunities to talk about other careers or college. So at some point, when I was in high school, I realized that there is an opportunity to go to college, except I didn't know that I was going to have that opportunity because I did not come from a family that was able to afford much at the time. And so when choosing my career, or college degree, I had to be very level-headed and pick something that could, in the future, provide for me. So I knew I needed to work to pay for my degree, which means I needed to invest in something that will provide, good return on the investment.
Okay.
And so my first career choice was to become, in a way, a corporate lawyer, corporate attorney.
Okay, a little different than leading a nonprofit, yeah?
It was different.
Yeah.
Similar in some ways. It takes a lot of courage and innovation. And so picking a corporate law degree at the time had everything to do with being courageous and innovative because we were a country that was transitioning from a communist regime, everything was government owned, to creating a private sector. So the degree itself was very new and very trailblazing, innovative.
Yeah. So kind of new possibilities, things that weren't available to your mom and your grandmother. So somewhere along the line, you visit Fort Wayne, Indiana, because of the sister city relationship. So if you don't mind my asking, about when does that happen, and what are your first impressions of Fort Wayne?
So I believe my first visit might have happened in 1994.
Okay.
And it was in the fall, and we came and were hosted by the city government. I believe Mayor Graham Richards was the mayor at the time. And so my first impressions were not super great. Because at that point, we have access to television. We see American films. We see the tall buildings.
So you're expecting New York or Los Angeles. And
we're seeing a lot of things.
And you land in the middle of a cornfield in the Fort Wayne airport.
And one of the receptions in our honor happened downtown, right up front of the Performing Arts Center. And I remember it's truly been quite an experience. I remember there was a table and a sheet cake that we would identify as typical American cake, and we were fascinated by it. But there are no people. There's literally nobody on the streets. And it was fall, and it was a little windy, and it was just very eerie feeling, because for us, downtown is the heart of the city. That's where everything happens. And here we are standing there, and there aren't any people walking on the streets. It was kind of scary in a way, you know, kind of apocalyptic. So we were looking at each other in disbelief, like, where are the people? What is happening here?
One of my first experiences with Fort Wayne, so I moved to Northeast Indiana in 1994, around the same time, but I was sort of on the outskirts. I had no idea. I'd grown up in the city and just thought every place was like where I grew up. And I got to Indiana and I was like, oh, there's cows on the side of the road. That's new. And I was living in a much more rural part of the region. And I remember a job interview took me to Fort Wayne, and I'm driving through downtown. I'm like, okay, I'm starting to see tall buildings. I must be getting close to downtown. And I kept going, and I was like, oh, that was it. That was downtown. I need to turn around. And you're right about the people. I mean, I started working at downtown in a job before Asher, and literally there are about 3 places to go to lunch. And it's very different than how it is today. So you have that experience, and then you come back again. Right? You visit Fort Wayne again. And how much further down the road was that you visited Fort Wayne again?
I came to Fort Wayne, in pursuit of opportunity after I graduated college in Poland, which was in a way humorous because I still didn't speak English and my degree didn't transfer. So, I got a fresh start, truly.
And did you have a network here? Were there people you knew, or were you starting basically from scratch?
There were people that I knew. Absolutely. The relationships that I built through our sister city relationships and the families I've gotten to be familiar with.
Okay. So you've got a degree you can't use. You're in a country where you don't speak the language. Where do you go from there? What's the next step?
Well, you take baby steps and you start anew. And so in a way, it's exciting. It's a brand new opportunity. And it's also it was the most humbling experience yet. Definitely character building for sure. Which, I'm very grateful for. I would not have traded it for the world. I've learned so much during those early days. And you watch a lot of Sesame Street.
Yeah.
And I read a lot, so I was able to understand the language before I was able to speak.
Yeah.
And then over time, just knowing that I have this brand new opportunity. What am I going to do with it?
Yeah.
Right. So finding a way to find my true passion and go back to school. I was accepted to an IU graduate program where I studied marriage and family therapy. So graduated with master's in education, but with concentration on marriage family therapy.
Okay.
And the program was truly fascinating. The training we've received was very much focused on systems and something that comes in handy every day for me. Yeah. It's just a way of thinking that's been extremely helpful.
And that was really, and correct me if this is wrong, but that was your initial job at Amani, was really counseling and social work. Is that correct?
Yes.
So were you doing anything in that field prior, or was Amani sort of the first step in your career after you got the master's degree?
Yeah, so prior to that, aside from working, all kinds of jobs, right? So when you're learning, you're earning your way, and there's a learning that happens. So anything from restaurant jobs to hotel front desk jobs to then moving closer to working in special education. I was working for an alternative program at one of the alternative schools. And so truly the first steps that I was able to take as a therapist was after graduating. And that was in 2009.
Okay.
And I remember Dr. Sanita Michael, who is the founder of Amani Family Services. Somehow he heard about me, of this foreign-born therapist, therapist in the making. Yeah. And we had a meeting. Goodness, do you remember the bagel station?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. On State Boulevard. Yeah.
So we met there.
I used to work at Parkview right across the street.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And really between his broken English and my broken English, I think we had very hard time understanding each other. Okay. But I think what was very clear was there was a lot of passion and a lot of purpose. And I definitely wanted to be a part of that. So I started working as home-based therapist for, back then, crime victim care of Allen County. That was before we transitioned into Amani Family Services.
Okay. So was that passion primarily because of your personal experience, or were there other things that sort of drove you in this direction?
So I've always been fascinated by human psychology, and I read Freud before I was able to make any sense out of it whatsoever, honestly. Yeah. And I thought that was going to maybe be the path that I will take, but then obviously the more reasonable thing to have done was to get an education and a degree that was going to provide for me in the future. Sure. So a little pivot there. Yeah. I had to go the practical way. Yeah. So returning to the idea of mastering human psychology and working with people was just really alluring. And here we are in America. I can do and be whatever I want to be, provided I'm willing to put the work forth, right? Yeah. And so that's really what was driving me. It's just truly understanding what makes us, do what we do. Yeah. And again, my training, the 3-year clinical program was absolutely fantastic in offering variety of frames of reference. So, systems theories is one way to look at human behavior, and individual theories were a big part of the program as well. So it allowed me to learn quite a bit. And then ultimately, when a meeting with Dr. Sanita Michael, I could not have thought of a better use of the knowledge and the passion than to give back to the community and work with a community that, that I've been a part of, or
Yeah.
In a way.
Well, and one of the things that I found, about Fort Wayne that really proved to be one of the reasons I've stayed here. There's a lot of reasons I've stayed in Fort Wayne, but there's enough opportunity that pretty much anything you want to do, you can do it, but it's not so big that you can't access that opportunity. Everybody knows everyone else, right? So you being able to find someone who shared that passion, I'm not surprised that happened because your story is unique and that makes it much easier to connect those dots. So for those who aren't familiar with Amani, can you tell us a little bit about the mission, why the organization exists, and what you're working on every day?
Yes. Next year, we'll celebrate our 20th anniversary, which is incredible.
Yeah.
To think that we've been such a strong pillar if it comes to mental health in our community, especially for immigrants and refugees. Our mission is to partner with immigrant and refugee families and the community to promote safety, encourage personal growth, and foster a spirit of belonging. We are a social service agency, and we have a very special place in the community. And the reason why we're here is because sometime in 1990s, this community took decisive steps to offer resettlement opportunities for refugees. And so you may be familiar, Catholic Charities is the refugee resettlement agency that has worked with a lot of our refugees. We hear a lot about the Burmese refugees.
Yeah.
So there was a huge need. There was there are many gaps in services because of access, language access, financial lack of financial access. Transportation was an issue, and there was a whole lot of acculturation that needed to happen. So we were able to provide solutions for people who were resettling into this new community, who were amazing, capable, resilient people. Bringing in a lot of strengths, but really lacking understanding of the cultural map, lacking language skills, and therefore not being able to really truly embrace the opportunity. So we've created services to support those individuals. So whether that being a casework where we would connect people to services that they may need, housing, employment, any resource you can think of, to mental health counseling, to advocacy for our victims of crime. And then over time, we have grown in scope of our services, and we've created Welcoming Fort Wayne Allen County initiative, and we also launched just February this year, Naturalization and Legal Assistance Program known as NALA.
Okay. Well, and my knowledge of Amani, other than what I've heard from Kara, is pretty limited. But one of the things I've been impressed with is how you make your mission accessible in ways that may seem superficial, but it's a great foot in the door. Welcome Week, just being one example. A friend of mine, Aaron Robles, got me involved, and that was through food, which I didn't really understand that until I got involved, and I was like, oh, this is a way to kind of bridge that gap between cultures.
Yes, I ultimately, even in sharing my story, I can tell you what are some things that I have done. I've taken responsibility for, I've taken action on. But we don't live in a vacuum, right? So there are a whole lot of people that have made opportunities available to me.
Yeah.
I had to do the work to capitalize on those opportunities. But there are a whole lot of people. Relationships are so extremely important. So when we think about welcoming people well to the community, we think, we are really, really the best when we neighbor well. And Welcoming Week it's an opportunity for us to neighbor well, right? So we try to engage with our multicultural community and with foreign-born and raised individuals to see how we can build these bridges of understanding, how we can find this common ground, and how we can truly thrive as a community together.
Well, and it's reflective of the fact that that's sometimes people's first impression of another culture is through food. So that was really impressive to me. I know you do a lot more than that, and the work is sometimes, really challenging, but it was a great sort of first impression on the organization. So you've really grown up with Amani, if that's, the right way to put it. You've moved up in the ranks over the years. So talk us through that journey, where you started and how you moved into the position you're in today.
I started as home-based therapist, and I worked primarily with adolescents and their families, their parents, that were referred to us through probation.
Okay.
Also, some families refer through the Department of Child Services. One way or another, that work put me directly in the homes of these families and these individuals.
Yeah.
And I just absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed every minute of it. My area was the southeast area of town. I've learned so much and met so many wonderful people. And I've worked with a lot of languages, a lot of Spanish speakers, a lot of Burmese speakers, and the families looked different and the languages sounded different, but the story was the same. And the common denominator of the story was that at some point, an adolescent has gotten into trouble and now I'm in their home, right? Yeah. Now they're referred and for services, and I'm in their home. And the more I looked at what were the reasons, why are we here? Why do I have a caseload of teenagers?
Yeah.
And it all seems like such a similar story. I quickly realized that what I was witnessing was that perfect recipe for an unruly adolescent. And the main ingredients of that was immigrant refugee family, moving into a new community, not being able to speak English, leaning onto the then young child for language access, which meant that these young individuals were involved in a lot of high-level conversations, anything from finance to medical. That's what we call in therapy world a parentified child.
Okay.
And so they learned that they have a lot of power. So by the time they became adolescents, they thought that they are in charge of the household.
Interesting.
And the parents had a very hard time reclaiming that. So that's just one example of, being able to put the systems lens on and see how does the problem develop? How is it perpetuated? Who is participating in that problem? And so I loved working with my families, and I loved problem solving with them. But I felt that there is a different level of change that needs to happen. And I need to be able to find a way to sit at the tables where decisions are made and help people understand that some of the well-meaning decisions are negatively impacting those families.
So you're trying to move to the root cause instead of the after effect of it. Yeah.
So that led me to taking on a clinical director role with the organization. And then gradually serving as the chief operations officer, and then as of the past several years as a chief executive officer. And I'm still solving problems, and I'm still trying to find my ways to the tables where decisions are made.
Well, and you're not doing it alone, obviously. You have a team you're working with. So tell us a little bit about your team, if you would.
Just such an incredible group of people, honestly. And, before we started, we talked a little bit about longevity with an organization and, how after a while you'll find yourself to be the oldest person or maybe the most experienced person in the organization.
Or both, Yeah.
So I can absolutely relate to that journey.
Yeah.
So my staff, a lot of them are individuals who started with us as an intern. Mm-hmm. And then also progress through different levels of responsibility and leadership. And that is certainly true to all members of my executive team. And so we've been together for quite a while. And I cannot imagine, attempting this mission without them on my side.
Well, that's great. That's great. Makes those challenges a little bit less daunting, I'm sure. So, so if somebody wanted to get involved, if someone wanted to help, what are some of the best ways that people in Fort Wayne or maybe even beyond can support you and your team in your work?
Welcoming Week is a wonderful way to get involved.
And what time of year does that happen?
That's September.
Okay. All right.
We're celebrating a week long of events.
Okay.
A lot of these events are actually put on by other organizations, not Amani. Mm-hmm. We'll just support them and support some marketing efforts behind it. Whatever that might be, whether that's screening a movie or participating in Culture Fest or market, just really being out there. And if people don't feel like they naturally have the opportunity to interact with the multicultural community, which would be hard to believe, quite frankly, because we know there are over 30,000 foreign-born living in Allen County.
Yeah.
It's kind of, it's a lot.
It is. Well, and
it's a lot.
And I look at, this is obviously a very, very small example. But Asher, we only have 40 employees. One was born in France, moved here later in life. Another was born in Sweden, moved here later in life. So we're kind of a reflection of that here at Asher. But I think that's great and sometimes underappreciated, I'm sure.
Yes, we truly have amazing cultural diversity. And again, Welcoming Week is just an opportunity to showcase that.
Yeah.
And getting involved in those events as an organizer, as an attendee, wonderful opportunities. We are a social service agency, means our services are primarily provided by trained, skilled, licensed individuals. Yeah. I know we get a lot of requests when we work with our volunteers to work with our clients. Well, there are a lot of constraints that prevent us from being able to bring well-meaning people into the room to support our clients. But we do have different projects throughout the year that, we welcome participation. Obviously, working on committees is very helpful. And supporting us financially is extremely important. Yep. We are not basic needs kind of agency, means we are not involved in distributing food or clothing. I know a lot of people approach us about these opportunities, and we send them to our partners who are doing a great job with it, who are champions in those areas. We are not champions at managing inventory. Yeah. We know what we do well, so
I applaud that because so many times people want to expand their mission and ends up duplicating other organizations in the community. And I love that you're working collaboratively to solve different but related problems. I think that's great. Yeah,
I think we do very well connecting people to services. And just like you mentioned, there's no reason to reinvent the wheel. Yeah. There are people who are doing this work very, very well.
Yeah. So with this interview coming out near the end of the year, what are some of the things that are on the horizon? Welcome Week is a long time away, but what are some of the things that you're focused on over the course of the next couple of months?
Definitely wrapping up the year, and it's been an incredible year. Launching a new program. I mentioned to you NALA, which was a huge accomplishment after about 2 years of hard work and fundraising to make that reality. We also earned certification as Allen County, and that was work done through the Welcoming Fort Wayne Hurricane Allen County initiative. Again, a couple years of hard work of many, many community leaders that resulted in Allen County completing community audits and passing in flying colors and receiving an official certification, which makes us the first certified welcoming county in the entire state of Indiana.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah.
So, we just... we want to take a little bit of time to celebrate. Maybe the last part of the year is focused on really celebrating the wins, understanding the secret sauce, finding ways to duplicate that next year to make sure that our other projects are successful, and getting ready to celebrate big. As I mentioned, our 20th anniversary is going to happen next year. We would love to have a very special event for that. So we would welcome any kind of support in that space. Again, it's a big undertaking, but we're looking forward to that. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, congratulations on some great things in the rear view mirror and some good things ahead in the windshield. So I'm going to pivot to a few final questions to bring home some of the things we've talked about. And the first has to do with your career and advice you might give to someone about what it takes to have a fulfilling and successful career. You started almost literally from the ground up and have moved up into a position where you have a lot of responsibility, a lot of opportunity to make a difference. If somebody were to ask you, what's the secret to career success and fulfillment, how would you respond to that?
Understanding your values. Because if you are in a space where you are not able to work based on your values, it would be extremely hard. But then being prepared to work hard. There are no shortcuts. There's no easy button. It's really waking up every morning and being disciplined around what it is that the goal is for the day, how does it feed into the overall goal. Giving yourself grace along the way because it is a marathon. It's not a sprint. And quite frankly, even looking at my own experience, look where I started and where I'm at. So sometimes we can't be too focused on the idea of what we think we need to be doing. We need to be open to other opportunities. And I am also deeply spiritual, so I use my spirituality, as a guide as well in knowing that I'm trying my best today to grow where I'm planted, but I also want to be open to the opportunities to serve in other capacities.
Well, I love that response for a number of different reasons. And one of the things that really resonates with me is, taking that long view in how far you've come. I think so many times people look at someone in your position and they think kind of it's always been that way for you. Really great to hear the backstory. And I think it's especially important for young people to understand that you have to pay your dues and you have to work your way maybe through some things that don't work out all that well to get where it is that you want to go. And I think the idea of staying true to your values is a great guideline in that. All right, second question. They get progressively harder. So the second one has to do with myths or misconceptions about the work that you do. You've already spoken to some of this, the fact that people think you offer services that maybe you don't offer. But what's another myth or misconception about your organization, a myth you want to debunk or something that's not understood well enough that you'd like to amplify?
I think I would like to highlight our helping philosophy. It's very important to me. Something that I learned very quickly in the course of learning English, for whatever reason, don't hold this against me, but it sounds, the word immigrant and refugee, it sounds as though there is a deficit of something, right? So I've noticed that a lot of times when we talk about immigrants and refugees, we tend to focus on less than. There's something that's missing.
It's in the root of the word, right? I have to take refuge, so that means I must be in a diminished position, right?
Yes. And truly, this couldn't be any further from the truth.
Yeah.
Most people we work with who are immigrants, refugees, are the most resilient, capable people.
Yeah.
And so when I say our helping philosophy is based on the idea that people who come through our door bring a number of strengths and that we are there to give them a leg up and not a handout. And that they are extremely capable, but they do need cultural map and they do need assistance, language access that can look like an interpreter in a room, that can look like a translated document, but also English learning opportunity.
Yeah.
Because that's important.
Yeah.
People need to learn how to speak the language when they live, in a new country.
Yeah.
That's what really allows them to thrive, to feel like they belong, like they're a part of something, to understand what happens around them.
Yeah.
So we focus on that as well. So that's important to me to stress because, again, the way we think about how we are effective at helping people, it's just being a fellow, traveler alongside and allowing our clients to be the experts and us just really putting the right tools and resources that they need at the time.
Yeah, and a number of things there resonated. So much in our society, we tie perceptions of intelligence to ability to use the English language. And they're incredibly talented people who come here where that's the only missing piece is they don't yet speak the language. I had a really humbling experience where whenever I've traveled, it's always been somewhere where they speak English until I went to France and went outside of Paris and I was lost. I just didn't speak the language. My 11-year-old stepdaughter picked up French much more quickly than I did, and she was kind of my guide. But it really gave me a sense of how important it is to be able to navigate the language and how much any of us would be diminished in a situation where we don't speak the native language. So I really appreciate what you're saying there and really understanding that anyone who comes here, they have strengths, they have talents, and if we can help them navigate the language piece, then they can contribute in great ways to the community.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, one more.
Yes.
So this is the one you were dreading before we hit record. What's a tool or tip or trick or something that helps you get the work done? I mean, you obviously have a lot of important work to do. You want to be effective, but you want to be efficient. What's the secret there? And it could be an analog tool. It doesn't have to be digital. What's something that helps you get your work done?
Yes, I'm definitely the analog generation. So not only I miss out on this whole, computer revolution, but
I don't know that you're missing out.
well, American children were, using computers. We didn't even dream of a computer lab in our schools. So literally a much later start, late bloomer in that area. And if my staff hears this interview, they'll laugh because it's so true. It's so true.
Yeah.
But I believe in making your work as efficient as possible.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So I am learning. I'm an avid learner, and so I'll learn that space too. I will, however, say that one of the most powerful tools that I've had at my disposal throughout my career have been relationships. And there's nothing more powerful than that. There's nothing more powerful than being able to reach for your phone and text, a peer, another CEO.
Yeah.
Do a quick, poll with, hey, what do you think about this? Or what are your recommendations? Or what do you think I should do in regards to XYZ? By far, the most powerful tool, not only to get my work done, to get my answers quickly, but also to feel supported in the choices that I'm making.
Well, and to understand people from backgrounds different than your own. There was a time in my career where I thought I had had to have all the answers. And now I'm proud to say I have very few answers, but I know people who have better answers and who understand things that I don't. And those relationships are, as you mentioned, really the key.
Yeah, and I am right with you. I think that big part of being a good leader is not that you know everything, is having the right tools, supports, and ways to find the answers that you need.
Yeah, and if you asked around Asher, they would tell you, I really don't know anything. I just know how to find the people who know things. So I'm right there with you.
In that, you are instrumental.
Well, I'm going to end on that note. I don't want to push that any further, but thank you so much for being a guest on the podcast. It's been great to hear your story.
Thank you, Anthony. I appreciate being here. Thank you.
Thanks to everyone who took the opportunity to listen to this interview on the Asher Marketing Podcast. We'll be back next time with another great guest, and we hope you'll join us then.
The Asher Marketing Podcast is a production of Asher Agency, a full-service agency for franchises and co-ops, colleges and universities, financial service companies, healthcare organizations, and government agencies. We'll be back next time with another great guest, and we hope you'll join us then.